Before I retired, I did this calculation of how many hours I spent in my car commuting back and forth to work per year. And when I did the hours, I did the traffic, I calculated because I'd get up like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was actually commuting about a month and a half of my life every year to get back and forth to work. Sometimes working 16 hours a day. Shit, I've even worked a full 24-hour shift. Crashed my ass off after I was done. And that's probably the reason why I'm able to retire at 51 years old. Because I had to put in hours and hours of labor, do a lot of self-development, dedicate a lot of investment, and whatever else. The point I'm trying to get to is this. I understand there's so many different factors in terms of what controls so many elements around how we develop as individuals, our values that's installed in us. I get that. But we have to admit, we have to accept that there's some people in this culture, some people in this country that ain't never going to do the right thing for their own survival. Nothing to do with no politics. I don't care what part of what political affiliation that you're associated with. We all know them. It matter of black, white community, whether it be certain individuals. It doesn't matter race. There's some people, it just are lazy and they're not going to do the right thing. Whether they're filing fake false disability claims, leeching off the system, doing so many different things. We all know the politicians, they have their own ways of, stealing money. They get into office at $50,000 in total net worth. In the next couple of years, they're a couple millions in total net worth. We're talking about each individuals. And anybody that's crazy enough to put their faith in the hands of government, you're insane. You end up with a situation like what's going on with this EBT debit card crisis, whatever. Or you able to put your health in the hands of these doctors or these people that are in charge of the Food and Drug Administration and what they say is healthy or what unhealthy and all the chemicals that they put in your food. Because, we can make an argument that what real healthcare looks like. What we have here now is just pretty much disease maintenance and surgery and medication. You can't even say you feel any type of way anymore. They'll give you about 20 pills and put you on medication instead of dealing with preventative medicine and preventative care. So it really comes back to the individual again. But what we see now in this country, people walking into stores, stealing stuff, feeling entitled to other people's things. And what do you think is going to happen? Those stores are going to move out of those communities. We've had communities in many rural areas where the Walmart shut down. Other places are shut down because many of the addicts have come in there and just stole all the stuff. They have, you go into these stores, some of them look like some dystopian environment, prison colony, and whatever else. As much as America has many of its issues, one thing America does respect is hard work, regardless of what race you are. And I always like to deal with people on an individual level and ask questions about you and what have you done in your life that have produced the outcomes that you get. And when you ask people and you make it personal and individual, you find out that most people are full of shit. Really. And they like to make excuses for why they can't do the things that they do. Like this morning, I'm up early, I'm about to finish out my 10,000 steps. I gotta find 1,000 reasons why my ass should not do these 10,000 steps. But I won't. I'm just gonna get up and I'm just gonna do them. Because it's a pattern, it's a habit, it's a behavior. Yes, it's a learned behavior, but also it's me and what I prefer for my life. Even as a 51-year-old guy, I don't take any medications or any of that stuff. I refuse to put my life in the hands of these doctors and anybody else. I'm not saying that things can't just happen to you in life no matter what you do, but I try my best to control the 90%. The problem we have now is that we've created so much entitlement in the culture, in this society, where government has now get to the point where people, so this government empowerment is like replacing what families and communities used to do a time period ago. For some people, theirs. But the average hardworking individual, man, they're not gonna say it, but they're like, man, they're not worried about anybody on no that sponging off of EBT. It's a temporary solution. Now they worry about children or the elderly or disabled people or whatever else. But you ride by some places, man, you see grown-ass men walking around at 10 o'clock in the midday riding on bicycles or just in some of these areas that are highly drugged. You see people of all races, especially these addicts, white addicts in many of these communities. You go over there, you see them walking around, because that's what all these communities do now. They send all of their addicts, the white addicts, into the black community that's where they pull those drug centers at. Black people ain't smart enough to catch on to that stuff, especially the black politicians, because once these communities do their fair share of outreach and programs, they send all their people and dump them in the black community, and then they don't do anything about it, because most of these politicians, they get whatever support they can from these companies that run these drug treatment centers and whatever else. But anyhow, that's a whole nother video completely. But inevitably, what we see now is a lot of people, and we see a lot of people being exposed for putting their whole life and their whole future behind getting handouts from the government. That is a failed strategy for anybody, period. Anyhow, peace and blessings, guys. Make sure you hit the like button. But nothing is free out here. I'm out.